Hi there, welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole, and on this channel, I'm attempting to cash budget my way out of debt and fix several years of financial misbehaviour. So, if that's something you're interested in following along with, please don't forget to stick around and check out the other content I've created for you on this channel. Now, I am back. First of all, do excuse any coughing or like breathlessness or croakiness. Hay fever has just decided to arrive and attach itself to me with an absolute vicious passion as of yesterday. So I sound horrendous. I am not horrendous. I feel fine. I just sound awful. So please bear with me as I struggle my way through this video because the pollen and the grass count has decided to just shoot up as spring has finally arrived in my area of the world. I am back, as I've said, with a plan that I'm fairly happy with for April. And we had the GCSE hand-in deadline last week, and I just gave myself a couple of days to just recover from burning the candle at both ends and kind of helping 15 and 16-year-old students who the penny for some of them only dropped with literal 2 hours left to make on their builds, and helping them manage their stress as best I can, which is not much at all because if they've left it to the very last minute, unfortunately with manufacturing, you have to wait for things to dry, you have to wait for a varnish or a stain to take properly, and 2 hours can go by very quickly. So some did miss the deadline of their own volition. Very much, good training experience, but I did then need a couple of days to just relax and come down, hence the slightly longer break. But we are resuming the 3 weekly videos, or 3 videos a week from today. And I'm releasing this on the Sunday because tomorrow, which is Monday, is my birthday, so I don't really want to be filming anything on there. But what I thought I would do is show you my April plan, which is coming on some new budget sheets because I've had a really, really relaxing day designing my next budget binder. And what I have realised is that budget binders that are no more than 6 month longs suits me best than a 12-month binder, and that is because I will change up the way I organise things. I might change up my weekly or monthly structure. I might change up the way I want to plan for something. I might need a more extensive spread. I might need a more simple pared down spread like I have done with this one. And so, although I do have a few months left on my original binder that you've seen me working through, I have gone ahead and I'm going to transition over from April into a 6-month binder, and that is going to see me through spring and summer. There is a very specific focus for spring and summer for me, and that is going to basically be a savings-based focus over a debt snowball focus. And that is because whilst I also have as I've discussed in my last video, the big problem, which is August coming down the line in terms of no fixed income. If I do not get accepted onto a Masters of Education programme, wherein that student loan payment would pay my bills for September, if that doesn't happen and I don't get accepted, I also have the problem wherein I won't be receiving a wage until the end of September and I would have September's bills to pay for. So that's also potentially a little bit of another problem which is coming down the track. So I'm not going to be, and I'm going to do a separate video on this, working a debt snowball in terms of making extra payment to debts for at least the next 3 to 5 months. And that allows me to do a savings focus instead, and that is because, as I've discussed, my base income doesn't allow me to do all of everything and I have to deal with the emergency in front of me. But I can see this for being a slightly longer video, so grab a coffee. I have a water to keep the vocal cords going, but grab a coffee and sit down with me. These are testers for the budget binder, which I will print myself and then bind myself. I won't be paying to get it professionally printed. I did look at that, particularly with it being my birthday, and the cost for a 6-month one for a good paperweight and for a clear vinyl cover was just far too much for a bound document. So I won't be doing that this time round. Maybe next time round I'll resume. Yeah, I've decided to pair a weekly planner with a weekly budget. So I'm foregoing the monthly calendar, I'm foregoing the monthly budget page. I'm taking it back to a weekly budget breakdown paired with a weekly planner to keep me organised. And that is where I think I was falling down slightly, not having that organisational focus. And that's definitely needed, particularly if you are someone like me. Now, the way this is going to work is by breaking it down weekly. It means that I can keep more of an eye on my cash flow, because I think that you can have as much of a problem managing your cash flow if you have a large amount of money coming in, or a small or a normal, quote unquote, normal amount of money coming in. Because I think it's really, really easy to get fooled into thinking on paper, I have a large amount of money and therefore I can just do everything straight away. And actually then you could get caught out quite easily. So there is a lot of playing it safe within this budget. And because these are just the rough drafts on this piece of paper, while this is the budget that I'm committing to, I can certainly see, because it's a slightly different budgeting style for me as well, that I'm returning to and then tweaking. I can certainly see there being some room for movement within that, but that is the joy of a budget. So, April for me, I have dragged it into a 4-week month, and in terms of budgeting weekly plans, and that is because I have made some weeks slightly longer, quote unquote. That is just in terms of, this is the total petrol spend for this period of time. These are the bills coming out in this period of time, and I'm going to class that as 1 week. The first week of April for me runs from the 28th of March to the 7th of April, so a slightly longer week there. And as I've said, I have got, because the budget is spanning for longer, I have got some bills that are going to come out twice, and so I have accounted for that in here. What I've also done as well is go through and track what I'm doing on certain days and what my focuses are. So for example, in April week 1, I have got a house inspection, I've got a chiropractor appointment, and I've got a vet appointment. So certainly the vet appointment and the chiropractor appointment needs to be paid for, so I need to remember that, which is why I'm popping this down here so I can literally see. And in the budget binder, it's going to be a double page spread like this. And then in terms of the inspection, it's tidying the house for the inspection, but also as I go through and tidy, that's a really good opportunity to organise and sort out as I go, have a move around of my kitchen cupboards, get those deep cleaned and sorted, particularly as I have eaten down a lot of my stash. Perfect opportunity to get that done when there's less things that I need to take out and put back in place again. If I'm going over to see anyone, so Easter Monday, we have a roast dinner at mum and dad's. That's always been like a tradition of ours, because we do observe kind of the Easter religious traditions. The videos that I want to record, I've got a PGCE deadline, which is my last assignment for my PGCE, so I want to get a good 1,500 words written around that. That might be an evening job that I do in front of the TV, or alternatively it might be a day that I carve out entirely to myself. I've got important notes like the fact that my payday is actually the 28th of March, which is before this starts, and that I'm going to go through to the city on Good Friday because I want to there's a couple of little things that I need to get in terms of print cartridge. I want to get some stuff from the local Hobbycraft because I know they always send you like a birthday voucher. I have a Hotel Chocolat Velvetizer, and again they've sent me they've sent me a birthday voucher, so I want to go through to that shop and kind of use those things as part of my spending money, and the best way to do that is just to go through and get that done at the very start. In terms of the finances for week 1, and like I said, this is going to be a longer video, guys. In terms of the finances for week 1, I've got the bursary of £2,000 that is getting paid on March 28th. I've then got bills coming out in this period of the 28th to the 7th. I've got my internet, which is £27, and I've rounded these up to the nearest round number to give me that some sort of buffer. So I've got internet of £27, mobile of 28, car tax 16, car insurance is 52, pet insurance is 37. I'm going to put the contents insurance into this first week, and that should coincide with my purchasing of a mobile phone so that I am then covered. And I think looking at it, And again, people being really helpful in the comments. Most places, if you buy them from a reputable second-hand refurbished phone place, will do some form of 6 to 12-month warranty. And then in terms of general contents insurance, I should be covered under that instead of doing a separate tech insurance. And I need to sort out my contents insurance anyway. Spotify is £6 as standard. YouTube Premium is £8. Cloud storage, I go with Google Cloud, which is normally £2.49, but I rounded up, and then a water bill of £50. What I have then done, that's a total of £327 worth of bills. They're not all coming out on the same day, but they are coming out within this time period. And what's really good about printing drafts of these sheets that I've designed is I can actually see how they work. So, for example, when I was designing them, I was really concerned that I wasn't leaving myself enough space within these cells, but actually I have, which is wonderful. In terms of flexible expenses, it's slightly higher in this period, and that's because I am replacing the mobile phone as well. So I intend to do very, very little driving. I will fill my tank up from wherever it's at. That's going to be £40, and that's going to be in cash. What I might do is add a separate column in here and make this slightly wider, and put a cash or card indicator. I'm not sure yet. I have got enough space to just write it in, to be fair. £70 is for normal food shop. That is going to be cash as well. I am still unsure about whether I'm going to do an online shop. I'm trying to see actually if within how organised I am in the week, and while I'm on the Easter holidays, it's not a problem. It's more outside of school, when I'm in school hours, that it might be a bit of a problem. But I'm going to do a £70 food shop. I've got my chiropractor appointment. They only take card. I've got teaching, some supplies and stuff that I need to stock up on, and that's going to be a mixture of cash and card. Some online purchases, some in-person purchases. Pet, that is his vet appointment, that's his medication, and that's some of his food, and that's £155, which is card payment. Obviously, the mobile phone purchase is the maximum budget of £400, and that's also going to be a card payment. And then my personal spending is going to be a mixture of cash and card, and that's budgeted £100. So that's a £845 total. The first, and again, this is where I'm talking about managing cash flow, the first set of savings that I'm going to do in this week to save for August to send to my trusted person is going to be £200. And then I've got the standard guarantor payment for April of £300. And that does leave me a rollover, which I take into week 2. Now, this is the second week of the Easter holidays, so again, very limited travel, and a lot of this week is going to be hopefully finding out the results of the rental inspection, which is on the Friday of the previous week. So I'm hoping that I will be getting a good email, basically saying, yep, we can happy to keep you as a tenant. Here's the proposed rental increase. And I can then start planning for much further down the line. That's my hope. But this period is much shorter, and it runs from the 8th of April to the 12th of April. Now, I do receive my large student loan payment on the 12th of April itself, but for the purposes of completing, I guess, the £2,000 amount, this is separately budgeted, and then I've got a separate budget for the student loan also starting from the 12th. So slight crossover, but that's fine. In terms of the week itself, it's, like I said, Monday the 8th to Sunday the 14th is week 2. Again, slight crossover because of the 12th of April, but the Monday to Friday is certainly the budget for this. And the only thing that's really going on that week is a coffee that I've booked in with another teacher trainee, and the student loan is going in. So that gives me the opportunity to do another 1,000 words at the PGCE. I continue the clear out, I can record my 3 videos, and I can do some listing. And then more importantly as well, I can look at actually if there's the opportunity to do some manufacturing for the Etsy side of my quote unquote business income, which is going to now be anything that I sell on Vinted or eBay, anything that I make up that's a costume item and list on Etsy. If I eventually go down the line of developing a budgeting range of products and having my own, or planning range of products as well, and having my own website, it's just all going to be classed as business. It's just far easier. You'll notice as well throughout this that I have not put that income in, and that is because how I budget that and break that down, I'm going to keep completely separate. Some of it I may choose to put towards reinvestment, some of it I may choose to put towards different savings, Christmas or a separate emergency fund, or indeed September. But because that's an unknown amount, we're not going to budget it and I'm not going to account for it, and I will budget then deal with that slightly separately. The rollover for April week 2 is £328. I have, according to my own bank account information, I have no bills going out that week too, so that's zeroed out. And then in terms of things that I can spend my money on, and again, this is going to be a mixture of cash and card. Anything that's cash will be done as a cash withdrawal and put into its required envelope, so there may be a cash stuffing video as one of the three. Petrol £20, and that is just going to keep the tank above half. Again, don't anticipate doing much travelling. The fellow teacher trainee that I'm meeting for coffee is localish to me, so I don't need to drive very far. Food is £30 and spending is £50, and again, cash for food, petrol and food, and a mixture of cash and card for personal spending money. And this is just out of that £2,000, so it completely wraps it up, with the bulk of it going to a £200 deposit into the August savings amount. And then in terms of a debt payment, one that I'm keeping on here, which is the last payment to Credit Spring of £4.70. So that is that account then completely closed and paid off, which is why I've kept that one in place. So where we've got the rollover period is the fact that on the 12th I will be able to access my student loan payment. So we're keeping slightly with the Saturday and the Sunday. These may be days where I again go into a city and do some things, but that is at the minute very much dependent on the outcome of my housing inspection. So you will see throughout this that towards the end of the month there is a miscellaneous section. If I do get to keep the house and there is a rent increase, depending on the level of that rent increase, I have got extremely old, extremely worn down carpets which need to be addressed and dealt with. It's something that has been resisted by the landlord. Equally, I have got walls which need a fresh coat of paint that I would like to put a colour onto. Now, as I have been here 4 years and I'm hoping I can stay for at least another 2, I am prepared to do a little bit of negotiating in terms of if a rent increase comes back at a certain level which I feel is unreasonable, I'm prepared to negotiate a rent price down in exchange for me doing some maintenance on the property, like refreshing those walls and, depending on the costs, replacing carpet in 2 of the worst rooms, or at least trying to look at some form of option to bring the carpet back to life. Again, that's a very much unknown. But yeah, depending on what I find out that weekend, I may be running through to a city to sort some things out. But let's get back to the numbers. Like I said, that week is quite quiet, but it does cross over into a week 3. So I've got a week 2 to week 3 crossover here. Again, this is just, as long as this makes sense to me, that's the main thing at the end of the day. And I just hope I'm explaining it clearly and concisely enough for you. But week 3 runs from the 15th to the 21st. So essentially, I have got a week that kind of runs a little bit like this, where my sole goal from the 15th to the 21st is to finish my PGCE, because my PGCE assignment, I should say, that is the last one, so I would then essentially finish the PGCE, because the deadline is Sunday the 21st for me. Officially it's the Monday the 22nd, but it's Sunday for me, and I can't do anything to do with quote-unquote business listing, manufacturing, photographing until that assignment is complete. So it's very much on me to get that done over Easter. And I also am back to school as of the 15th. The holidays are over. So from the 12th to 21st, I will have a small rollover of £23, and that's purely because I like the round numbers of saving, £1,000 or 200 or 300, and realistically, there was no other category that the £23 I could feed into. I was quite happy with where things had settled. I also have a slightly increased student loan payment of £3,792, giving me a total planned income of £3,815. Again, this is all planned. I will actually, I think, do weekly reconciliations if I can get them filmed and turned around in time. Now, again, I know because the budget is running up to the 1st and I have bills going out on the 1st, it means that I have bills going out twice across this period, and that's because it's a longer period. I'm being paid early because of Easter, and then I've got bills going and direct debits going out late because of Easter. So a rare kind of once a year occurrence, which I can survive. But because of that, and to manage the cash flow and to manage those bills going out when I need them to, I am going to be going onto my online accounts and making those payments early in this first week so that I can comfortably say that out of this, as soon as I get paid that student loan payment, the remaining bills are covered and paid for. That means therefore that the rent, which is a standard payment of £850, is going to be paid out slightly later. That's to help me balance that cash flow. It's officially due on the 17th. Normally I pay it in the first week of the month. To allow me to do the other stuff from the week from the bursary, it's going out here. Mobile 28, internet 27, Spotify. I've put that in there because I feel like they're never consistent with when they take their direct debit, so I've put it in just in case. Car insurance 52, pet insurance 37, and then Google Cloud Storage is another one. Like, I don't know when they take their payments. They just seem to be taking them at non-regular times. So that's £1,003 for fixed expenses and bills. In terms of the flexible payments, which I've not added up, which is weird. I'm normally very good at doing that. It's £440. Okay, good. In terms of the fixed payments, again, a mixture of cash and card. Fuel of £60, again, to cover I think 2 petrol top-ups. Fuel of £60, food of £80. I will be doing some batch cooking over the weekend of the 14th and the 15th, ready for my school week, so I need to make sure that I've got all those ingredients in. There will be an element of a main shop and then a smaller top-up shop for fresh items as well within that amount of money. I've got my personal spending of £50, and I have got a pet stock up. This is the remainder of his food for April, and then also May's food as well, and that's £150. That's going to be a card payment. And then I do every kind of quarter a big stock up on healthcare, toiletries, household cleaning products, anything like that, and that's £100. I did that in January on a much smaller scale because I still had things left over. I've been kind of just trying to focus on school and work and not concisely doing things. The supplies across both the food cupboard or the food pantry and the toiletry household is running very, very slim. So much so that I'm resisting doing certain things because I would just be buying it early. I'm trying to hold out and be creative with my cleaning until then. But again, a mixture of cash. So cash for fuel, food, mixture of cash and card for spending, cash for the household toiletry, and then card for the pet stock up as well. A big saving amount of £1,000, which is going to be half of my £2,000 target for August, and then I've got an additional guarantor payment of £300 going out as well. So that's a double payment to my guarantor to keep me on track to pay them off by half. That takes me into a rollover for week 4, and that is the 22nd of April to the 1st of May, so another slightly longer period. And again, in terms of the weekly planner, a slightly double page spread here with the main focus on what I want to do carrying over. So just very quickly, it's planning out the final stages of business launch photos, listings, etc. This is as it relates to Etsy, because the launch date that I'm anticipating, if I can stay organised, is the 28th of April. And that is going to be relaunching the costume side of what I used to run as a business in a much smaller scale, returning to Etsy with all of the lessons that I've learned from my previous experience, and hopefully succeeding, and making that sustainable as a sustainable form of second income outside of, say, an eBay or a Vinted listing or clear out. That is if I can stay organised. What I'd also like to try and do as well is the master's application, get that sorted within that time, now that I've finished the PGCE, and I'll be able to then talk about more clearly. I'm intending to use my PGCE assignment as a springboard into my master's dissertation. So once that's written, I can then talk about that in more detail within my master's application, which is why I have not looked at that so far. That is unofficially the week 4. Like I said, a little bit of a cheat because according to a calendar, it's a 5-week month. But for my own ease of managing things and managing my planning, I've got some slightly longer weeks within there and some slightly shorter weeks. So yeah, 22nd of April to the 1st of May. The rollover is 1,072. This is anticipated rollover, I should say. I don't think I've got any bills going out in that last month. I think I've remembered them all, but again, I have got a little bit of contingency built in just in case. Fuel is going to be 80. That is because that's going to be 2 essentially weeks that I need to fill up on fuel, and that's going to be in cash. Food is 70, and that's also going to be in cash. Personal spending, mix of cash and card, £50. Card Christmas, £30. That is because I'm going to be cracking on with, or should I say beginning, the book challenge which I've got with my sister. Now, if anyone doesn't know about that or they've not heard me talk about it, we can't claim credit for this. She saw it on a very, very random Instagram post. When she went back to try and find it, she couldn't find it. So it was just very quickly in passing, but it left an impression. She's been rather organised with this. I haven't. You essentially exchange. We've chosen books, but this could also work for physical media in terms of DVDs, CDs, vinyl, retro games, books, etc. We've given each other a list. Again, she's given me hers. I haven't given her mine. I'm quite behind. Of books that you would like, either to complete a series that you've bought or things that you always want. And we've given ourselves a maximum budget, which is £30, hence this amount here. And it's our challenge to go through and see how many of the books or DVDs or physical media you can find off that person's list for the total £30. And this is a Christmas present. We could have done it as a birthday present, but we're going to exchange it at Christmas. And there is no official winner's prize that we've decided, but the winner is whoever finds the most amount of books for the £30 budget. And like I said, she has given me her list. I need to do my list for her and give her that, but I'm going to get that purchased and out of the way and sorted. This may be something which I do within the first week of April, so again there might be some fluctuating changes throughout this, but I know a few of hers I can get from some online secondhand booksellers, so I'm going to go ahead and get that done, because once I resume teaching, I'm not going to have the time in the evenings to go trawling secondhand book sites or pop into a charity shop to see if they've got her there. So I'm going to get that done and purchased, and that's the only Christmas thing I've got sorted, because then I know that one is a time intensive thing which is off my list. And I also have a food cupboard restock. This is because I am going to be returning to a lot of batch cooking, which I cook from fresh. I've got some dietary requirements that I need to accommodate in order to make sure I stay healthy and I'm okay as a person. And yeah, that's going to be cash. I'm moving this specific restock to the second half. Again, there might be some fluctuations within this. I might do a complete swap over, and I might do less personal spending in that week, and instead in week 3, and instead do a stock up, but I've accounted for it. You'll see these fluctuations and changes anyway. There is a miscellaneous amount of £292. Again, that is dependent on the house. It's dependent on what I've managed to earn through destashing. I may be able to transfer it into an August savings, but I just felt like, because of everything that has been going on, and I'm very much sending the August savings away with the intention that I don't touch them, it would probably benefit me to keep a miscellaneous amount floating throughout this month. So that is a total of £672 there, with a payment of £400 going to the August savings, which means overall that I will have £1,800 of my £2,000 savings saved. Now, what my hope is that through the destashing and the listing and the organising that I'm doing, I'll be able to make up that remaining 200. If not, I will spread that across the May, June and July budgets that I've got coming in. Like I said, I just felt like, yes, I could probably do the full 2,000 out of this April wage, but actually keeping a miscellaneous floating amount based on my recent history in recent months is probably the best thing, particularly as I'm going to be pushing for some further tests to be done on my cat based on his weight loss and health situation. I may have to pay an excess to cover insurance and things like that. I may just have to pay for it up front if the insurance decides to be silly. So I've got a little bit of movement there. That is a plan for April, which between designing my budget sheets and my new budget planner and working this out, I'm actually quite happy with. Now, I do fully expect that there will be some actual real changes on the day, and this is not going to be an absolutely perfect situation where everything lines up unexpectedly. But my hope is that actually, because I'm returning to something that's slightly simpler and very much trying to align it with my weekly planning, and I did get very, very, very tempted by Abundant Budget's tear off planning and budgeting pads, and then went, no. No, you can't. You must do something. You must, like, I work best with something that's very kind of bespoke and tailored to my brain and my quirks and my nuances, and that gives me that flexibility. So that is what I am going ahead and doing and planning for April. Not as heavy of a stock up as I thought I might do. Equally, I'm not ruling out within my kind of normal food shops and things, I might be able to just do a little bit of an additional stock up there as well. But I do need to start looking after my health. It's going to mean that actually I'm going to have to bite the bullet and do the increased food spends. And my hope is that by increasing Bowie's stock of food as well, that's just going to ease cash flow going forward. Yeah, I'm excited-ish. I can't wait for the 28th to arrive. It's quite close. It's going to be an evening of me going through, and the bank account's going to be like, what are you doing? You're doing there's so much going on. And it's like, it's fine. And an early start on Good Friday, because I will be heading into town for as soon as it opens and exiting as soon as I can. So an early drive, which is fine. Lots of work to do for me personally, both within the house and within the school. So it's going to be at least I won't be teaching the first 2 weeks of April, but definitely going to be a busy period in April. And I'm hoping I can use April's finances as a springboard for a much quieter and calmer May and June. And yeah, they're very much my spring months. April, May, June is that quarter. I'll do a full kind of budget binder, I guess, launch or reveal, and I've got some quarterly goals focused in there as well, but I'll do that separately because I'm aware that this video is probably going to run to closer to 35 minutes, and Bowie is starting to get tetchy and wanting some tea. You can probably hear him rustling around in the background, and he's about to fall off my printer just because. So let me know your comments down in the section below. Let me know what you think. I don't mind. I may not do what you suggest, but please don't take it personally. I treasure and value all of your comments that you give me, and I made it through without having a coughing or a choking or a croaking fit by very much monitoring and keeping a monotone voice. So thank you for bearing with me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. All of those things are completely free and they really help this channel. I have an unofficial goal of hitting 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be really, really lovely. So yeah, if you could help me get that, that would be wonderful. And I hope you have a fantastic budgeting week wherever you are in the world. I will be back either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how much printing I can get done, probably with the launch of my new budget binder. I say launch, it's just going to be for me, so it's a reveal of my new 6-month budget binder. It's my birthday tomorrow, so I will be, off social media and off engagement, so I will see you all very, very soon. And as I said, have a fantastic budgeting week. I'm going to love you and leave you now. Bye-bye for now.